show you how it's done.
I'm going to say it right. I'm here with supermodel Frederique van der Waal, right?
Like saying it in a Dutch way, van der Waal.
Okay, van der Waal. Like it's not W like America, right? It's like a wall.
Well, we say van der Waal, but if I would say it in Dutch, I would say van der Waal.
That's what I was going for, to impress my friend Rob.
That's nice.
Yes, that's love. I don't even know where to start because there's so much amazing stuff. But one thing I love is, do you like that flower called, I think, Frederique's Choice Lily?
I do like that flower.
Tell me about that.
I mean, being Dutch, of course, we love all flowers. So when I was honored as a recognition of my career in fashion, to have a flower named after me, it was a hard choice. And I was introduced to this breeder who had these incredible lilies, and I met the little Frederique right there.
And then that was it.
Yeah, and it's so funny because as the Dutch, we really grow up with flowers, and it's always part of our lives, and we have fresh flowers around all the time. And then actually to realize the process of what goes into it, I thought, wow, this is such a great story. So originally what I did is I pitched to Discovery Network to shoot a documentary, how the invisible journey, it's called, how the journey is of flowers into our vase. And that actually brought me to creating a brand, an e-commerce platform, about flowers, how being able to buy bouquets of flowers online. And Frederique's Choice, yes. And it was an amazing, it was sort of the first of its kind. Incredibly tough business, by the way. Obviously you have something perishable. It was a new arena, but an incredible journey, and it has been still, I mean, it's amazing. I'm now 10 years in. Sadly, because of COVID, we've had to close in America, but in Europe, we're going, though I don't know if you've seen some of the newspaper stories. They even cut the tulips the other day in Holland. They cut off all the tulips.
Oh, wow.
And this is not to safeguard the bulbs, because that's what they also do, but this is because there's too many. And so export obviously is having trouble, but the online business actually is, for most people, online business is still going. But yeah, it has been an amazing journey.
Well, you have a near perfect rating of like several thousand people on Frederique's Choice. That's amazing in such a tough business. One thing is, I went looking for Frederique's Choice Lily on your website, and I couldn't buy one. What's up with that? Please explain.
You know what? I'm going to put you in contact with the CEO.
Okay, yeah, I think.
No, so there's a few stories to that, and one of them actually is the flower I chose. I didn't do that commercially enough, because it takes a while for flowers to actually duplicate themselves, so that it takes time. So I actually chose also a flower that I have to say they haven't duplicated enough of it. They have rebirthed some other Frederique's Choice lilies and other flowers, but it's actually one of these concepts that we would want to really further develop, so that in the end your actual flower is your own.
Okay.
That's a bigger, it's like where you would say, you buy a piece of clothing and still the fabric comes from the main fabrication. It's where literally that flower is grown here on my property.
Oh, okay.
We're not there.
We're not there. I understand. Because I was clicking away and I said, all right. Also, you said it takes up to 10 years for some lilies.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
No, I mean, it's incredible. Well, if you think about it, it's the process, what goes into it. There's a male and a female, they have sex, and then a little one comes, and then you start planting it, and then to double it and double it and double it. So the process from sort of that starting phase to having it on the market and have enough of it available is a huge process. So you would think it would be now available.
That's what I thought. I was all excited, but I understand the Adam
Yeah.
and Eve Lily, and it takes duplication. How is your little one? How's Skylar doing? She's not as little as you probably like anymore, but
So little anymore. She is turning 20 in May, shockingly. I have a 20-year-old. It's crazy. It's crazy. You turn around and it's, yeah, there she is. She's here also. She's actually studying abroad in Amsterdam, but with everything going on, we decided that the best place was to be in upstate New York. I mean, we've gone into New York City. We are by heart Dutch New Yorkers, I would say.
okay.
But yeah, no, it was such the situation is just so intense
It's mind-boggling.
that I said, you know, maybe we are as fortunate, and I feel very fortunate and grateful that we can be here in the Dutch farm. And
Yes.
I've been actually last night, I woke up this morning with literally muscle pain in my hands from weeding and pulling bittersweets out of trees. And I mean, I actually, for you, brushed my nails because dirt.
Oh, we are honored here. We are honored. Okay, so we got all that. There's so many other things I want to ask. Quick, easy questions. Are you an Uptown girl? I know where you live, not your home, but I know basically. You're a downtown girl, right?
I'm definitely a downtown girl. I started when I came to New York, late 80s, uptown, and very soon realized that I was more of a downtown girl. I sort of moved my way slowly down through Chelsea, 18th Street, and then down into NoHo, Soho, that whole area. And one of the reasons is because I love to ride my bike. And my bike. I was one of the first. I would race the messengers and often win. I got lots of remarks always because I have a Dutch bike.
Oh no.
And I still do. And yeah, I love being on my bicycle.
Okay,
Always.
that'll lead to something very big later on we'll talk about. Tell me real quickly, how many times did Carter hit on you?
Actually, so funny.
No, he did. I mean.
No, actually, it's funny. He and I had a bit of a brother-sister. When I came up with the concept for the show, Homegrown Makeover, which I created with A&E for the launch of Frederique's Choice USA. And the idea was to bring in flowers and plants into your space, and how can you incorporate that, and how can you make certain things within the house that it survives, and that you feel nature a little bit more in those urban areas. And then we looked at who my co-host was, and it's always good to have an American next to you with my Dutch accent. And Carter was introduced, and when I saw him, I was like, this is a very nice looking guy.
Oh, shout out to Carter. Carter, whatever his name is.
But he reminded me also a little bit of my brother, interestingly enough. There's a similarity. It's kind of interesting. And we hit it off more as instant good friends. We hung out. Actually, Skylar worked on the show as a sort of helper to the interior designer. And sometimes I would see Skylar and Carter hanging out playing video games. So yeah, he's a great guy, incredibly down to earth, likable, and it made, because we had really a pretty rough schedule, and it was really fantastic. I learned a lot. He was, and that's the other side of me. I'm a very hands-on. I love to build. I love to paint. I love to garden. Adventure is very much part of my life.
We have that
and
guy.
he was willing to show me how I had to cut things and use this and that. And it was very nice. It was great to do that show. And it's still running, actually. A&E sold it worldwide, and I know Brazil just bought it. So
you need to be green all over the world again. Everybody needs some green. Let's see. There was something you said, everybody needs to have a bouquet in their home. So how many are in your house? I think I see, well, I can't see in the back there, but.
Well, I have one. I'm going to, there's one up. It's not a bouquet, but it's actually apple blossoms.
Oh, wow. Those are beautiful.
this is a small little bouquet put together. I have forsythias in my kitchen that's blooming now. So I have it's yellow, big yellow. So yeah, when I'm in my living space, I will always have flowers around and or plants, flowers. It's very important to me to make make a house come to life. It's funny because my daughter just started living on her own in Amsterdam. And she said, Mom, it's so funny. I'm so used to always seeing flowers. Now it's weird for, a 19-year-old. But she says, I like to find a flower, even if it's like a few or one, to put it somewhere and make my apartment feel homey.
It changes everything. Every dynamic, every emotion, everything. My mom always had flowers and you just felt good.
Yeah.
Smell, everything. Great memories. Are you an entrepreneur? You ever do any entrepreneur stuff? Speak at Harvard.
What do you think?
Get an Entrepreneur of the Year award from Marie Claire. Any of those little things.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I think that's also very Dutch. I think the mixture of my Dutch background and the American fantastic feeling of the inspiration that you feel in New York, always curious to look at the next thing. And I've been very entrepreneurial. It started off with creating a bathing suit line. That didn't last very long. It was a tough business, but it was fun. I had it even in Saks Fifth Avenue. And then I did a perfume even, Frederique, the Spirit of a Woman.
I didn't put any of this in your press kit, in your research. You've got these huge accomplishments that aren't anywhere. You're like, I'll leave that out. Perfume, this and that.
This was like mid-90s we talked about. I mean, and then I did an underwear line, which I actually made a deal with JCPenney and then with QVC. After sort of Victoria's Secret, I decided, look, I mean, I'm a woman, I wear underwear. I've modeled every kind of underwear and bra. I would be a really good one to design a line. So I did, actually it was great. It was a licensing deal. It was not my own company, but a licensing deal, but very involved. Till actually 9/11, I had to stop. Yeah. So I have something with heavy situations that arrive.
Right when you're going to launch, there's some kind of global life-altering
right, something new. Yeah. No, I mean, I think if I look at the path, it's wonderful. I really used sort of what the whole design process is something that really inspires me, but also the fact of bringing something to market. What I'm not good at is, and I notice it very much with Frederique's Choice, to be every day in an office is not my thing. I am not good at that. Managing people, I'm also not good at that. So I've learned, from my mistakes quite a bit. This is the wonderful thing of America. I always say that when I do any Dutch interviews or talks. In America, it's yes and in Holland, it's often yes but. So it's it's okay if you fail at something. The Dutch are not always so positive about that if you would fail. Where an American would look at it, hey, you at least know how you shouldn't do it.
Exactly.
From the positive side. So I've definitely been incredibly entrepreneurial in my life.
Sure have. And you spoke at Harvard. Was that about being an entrepreneur?
Both, actually. I did 2 talks there, which was really, I really enjoyed that. Not only because it just said Harvard.
Harvard, I mean,
and one was on beauty, actually.
What did you do, just stand there?
No, it was a discussion, and it was a very heated discussion. I remember it was very interesting. And the other one was a talk where you under Dr. Professor Robert Coles, and it was a bit more about life experience. And what was interesting, I mean, my academic life is not intense, though my life of living and experiencing and I did have a lot of ups and downs also. That helps you tremendously. And when you actually talk there, it maybe not sounds as lavish as some of these academia, but it definitely, you can get your word across. And I really enjoyed that. I have done over the years sometimes, you know, if it was something for CNN or with certain things, I do love it.
The guys in the audience, were they writing things down? Were they even comprehending? Like, or were they just, if there were smartphones back then, they would have been filming it.
Yeah, God knows. I don't know. I was very busy trying to be keeping my wits about it.
I would have had a hard time being there. But anyway, you've been on TV a bunch of times, done a bunch of shows, created, produced, hosted. What about like you did The Face, or no? Yeah, The Face. You did Cover Shot. What about those shows over in Europe? Because we missed those.
Yeah, I mean the Cover Shot was here.
Well, that was here. No, that was TLC. Yeah.
TLC, yeah. Actually, the one I have to say I always adore doing, and it was funny because when they asked me, I was very nervous about. I'm not a big fan of reality shows, and they asked me for The Mole.
Oh, in Hawaii. Yeah.
And it was the first sort of celebrity one, and then somebody, you know, one of the people had asked me, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of these kind of things. I find it sometimes, I don't know. It's one of those things where you sometimes wonder to try to get back in the public eye, and should you not? And but then somebody said, oh, this program is quite smart, you will enjoy it, and you will do weird stuff. And I said, really? And then indeed I, you know, did charades underwater. I jumped out of a helicopter.
You what, out of a helicopter?
I jumped out of a helicopter
into
a waterfall. Yeah, no, it was crazy. And I was the mole.
And you were the mole too, on top of it.
And nobody got it, so it was great. It was great.
You're like James Bond spy. I knew you were a Bond girl. I knew it.
No, exactly. Yeah, I didn't do that actually. I did Wild Wild West, but I didn't do the Bond girl.
You could have. It must have been timing or something when they were
Actually, it's funny. I was at one point asked for a reading, and I was stupid enough to say, because at the time it was an actor who I didn't think was Bond. Who was it, that in-between guy? I'm sorry I said that, but so I didn't go to the reading. I was such an idiot.
God. Okay, well, it was Roger Moore, Sean Connery, the last guy.
It was after them.
Pierce Brosnan. I think Pierce Brosnan. He was the guy before.
And it wasn't Daniel Craig. It was before.
Yeah, I know who you're thinking about.
Yeah,
he wasn't a Bond guy at all.
You don't even remember the name. So I was like, you know what? If I would be a Bond girl, it has to be with the real Bond.
Yeah. And after Sean Connery, it's pretty hard.
Trevor Noah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know who you're talking about, but like you said, he's forgettable. So obviously, I think you made the right choice, because then they associate you with him, and it's done. Yeah. Okay, The Face.
So, yeah, but I sometimes think with those things, maybe sometimes in those earlier days, I've always been grounded. I was never stuck up. But sometimes these things, I think I should have just done it. I mean, you know, how fun would it have been? But anyway, it doesn't matter. But sometimes you look back and you think, oh, I wish I had done that, or whatever, that shoot going to that or that. Not to say I've done.
I think you've done enough. I mean,
crazy.
When did you stop collecting your covers? You couldn't have collected every cover. Maybe the agencies did, but.
No, it's funny. Actually, the other day, a friend of family friends sent me an email and said, I'm cleaning up. A lot of people are cleaning up. And it says, I have a folder. I saved all these things of you. Anyway, I said, that's so sweet. Anyway, they mailed it from Europe to New York. And I just saw some things I had never seen.
Oh my God.
I don't remember it. Like it's literally, and I think over the years I've kept, of course, things, and some of them are archived, but yeah, no, it's interesting. It's certain things I look at and I kind of go, wow, I don't remember the story behind it.
Well, shooting 5 times a week for years and all that stuff.
Years and years and years.
It becomes a blur.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else. One thing I love.
The Face. You asked me about The Face.
Oh, The Face. How did you like doing that, being a judge? What was?
Well, what I very much like is the idea of giving advice to younger girls. That part I very much liked. I particularly find sometimes the concept of be as crazy as possible and then you get noted because that does well, TV, internet. I'm not one of those. Like, I find that always a bit annoying, and where, you know, the capacity is often in how a girl or guy's outlook is in life, their personality, something that you can hold on to. But in the sense of seeing young talent was actually kind of great. I liked it. It was nice
And
to
you can
see the
tell.
process on that side again.
One of the problems now with kind of like auto tune and music business, Photoshop, filters, and then also social media following, models
Yeah,
now are being cast based on what they can make them look like, forget airbrushing, but also how many social media followers they have. Every girl I know, that's on the thing. If you've got 8 million, you're doing Victoria's Secret,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the ones that are doing it now
yeah.
versus back in your day.
Well, those now I don't know how they went through a rough time. I don't know if that's number one on when the agencies open again. I wonder what the idea will be on that. I mean, they're putting women in charge, which I think is good. That's how it started out. In It's funny. I was considering writing an op-ed when this all kind of hit, because I very much am a woman's woman, and I think being sexy, you do that also for yourself, and that's in the beginning how Victoria's Secret really was the idea. They had fantastic photographers from Arthur Elgort to all kinds of people shoot it. They didn't use guys. They had fantastic women, very powerful, interesting women. Um, yeah, and it's sad that indeed a few bad eggs came around and certain things indeed happened. And
Really bad.
sadly, I never, literally, I've never had um, any issue. I mean, one time I always remember we were shooting in Santa Barbara, great story, um, with Paul Lang, and it was one of those days where I felt like, listen, guys, this is not fair. I'm standing in my underwear. I don't like it. You guys are all there. I mean, I think you all should stand in your underwear, and then let's shoot. And that's what they all did. So the whole game, yeah. Everybody, and Jill Goodacre was there, Stephanie Seymour. I think we were the whole gang of girls, and I mean, we laughed so hard. It was fantastic.
You are a troublemaker. I love
there
it.
was, yeah, there was a camaraderie together. We were, we shot so often, and it was a real warm family together. And if there was something, people would listen and say no. If you didn't want to wear something, if you felt uncomfortable, there was always an ear. So and I had a long, I mean, 10 years at least, 12, 10, yeah, with them. So
Yeah,
it was
that's
it's
amazing.
right in the house.
That's great that nothing horrific like what's taken place, and some people need to
Oh,
be hung for it. But all right, well, they've
yeah,
done a change of scenery. The big people are gone. Hopefully, they can still maintain
yeah,
it. But I
yeah,
think like Rihanna, she had the hottest lingerie show before all this happened, like last year. Everybody wanted that, and Victoria's Secret was kind of like, all right, whatever. Nobody really was
yeah.
whatever. I think when you were there, it was the best.
Yeah, but you also have to reinvent yourself in a way. I think for them, this is a great opportunity to think about what would work now, in this time, in this day, and even with their history, learn from those mistakes and make it very women strong. I think that would be really interesting again. But
That's really the only choice. I think you
yeah,
need to take over Victoria's Secret.
yeah,
Outside consultant, non-executive consultant, use your brain and you'll help them.
yeah.
You're like, no.
You don't have old white male guys running the company.
No, exactly. Well, that's just like the government, the Congress, all this making all these rules about women. It's
God,
mind-boggling.
we could mention a few that should take a hike. Yes,
Ah,
exactly.
almost
Please, not
elect
going to, not
all of
going to.
them. But we won't go political because then everybody will be mad at us for something and they'll protesting, whatever.
Yeah,
One of my favorite things Do you remember doing a Ralph Lauren show that was very interesting because of the novelty no one had done? When I saw you come zipping out there, that was really cool.
You know, it's a very funny story. So a couple of, 2 months ago, I was at Friends in Montauk, and there was a girl, a young woman at the dinner, and she said, "Oh, I'm in the archive of Ralph Lauren." She works. And I said, "You know, I have this story in my head, and I almost know it happened, but maybe over the years, who knows?" That when Ralph, because she asked, "Have you walked for Ralph?" And I said, "Yeah, I've worked with Ralph." But funny enough, I'm not a huge fan for walking shows. I mean, obviously I've done it, but it's not my biggest wish at times. When he asked me to be in the show, in the sports show, I said, "Why don't I do it on rollerblades?" Anyway, he loved it. He said, "Yes."
I didn't know it
So
was you. I thought it was
then
some
I went
marketing
to the
dude.
premiere at the museum, no, at the Metropolitan or the museum. Yeah, it was at the Met. And then
He's always staying in the Met. Okay.
yeah, and then suddenly it comes on. It's in the movie, Very Ralph, and I was like, "Holy shit! I didn't make it up."
Wow. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
came up with that. You are the
yeah.
IT person. Don't worry about
Well,
me. Don't worry
I
about
love I love sports. So I said, "How great when you do the sport. Let's do, I mean, I wouldn't mind going on rollerblades." And he said, "Great idea." And so
but
we
you were
got a
great
few.
at rollerblading and roller skating, and the others were doing it as well, I thought, right? A bunch of them?
We had like different. So we had, I think, 3 or 4 rollerblades, and then there was all kinds of things. I think whatever, yeah. No horses on, but I think they even brought out a bike. Yeah, there was some, yeah,
Because that was,
yeah.
I saw a lot of people rolling more, and you caused that. They must have loved it, though.
It
They
was
must
great. It was great.
have been in the
Yeah.
audience that day. All right. Um, I guess let's do charities real fast. 3 major ones. The picture I love most, you're getting your face painted by, I don't even know, a little tribal guy, and he's barely wearing clothing, and he's having the best time ever, and you're smiling, and it's not your
I
normal hair and makeup day.
A few years back, I ended up in the Amazon with the Waranis. The Warani is a tribe in the Ecuadorian Bazaar. It's an interesting story because it was this Dutch guy, Johnny de Mol, has a program, Where is the Mole? And he asked me if I wanted to be in his program. He interviews a celebrity. Maybe a great idea for you to do. Anyway, he got it this far. I mean, brilliant concept. He would say, and I said, "I don't know." He says, "Yeah, but you can choose wherever you want to go in the world." And I
Oh,
was like, "You
open ticket.
serious? Are you serious?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm very serious." So I said, and my love is with nature, sustainability, climate change, I've always wanted to meet or be able to go into the Amazon and meet an authentic tribe. And so that ended happening. And the guide, Stalin, an Ecuadorian guy who married a Dutch woman, funny enough, I became close friends, and I started helping them and became the ambassador to Save the Native Forest, their organization. And they work directly with the Waranis. And I did a deal actually with Samsung of where we were able to buy land to safeguard their territory,
Like,
buffer
oh,
zone.
yeah.
And actually, one of the things, interestingly enough, but who knows now, but the timing wouldn't be bad for the indigenous tribes because of everything that's happening now, and with Brazil also, is to go back and sort of, I wanted to tell the story to my daughter, what this meant to me. And to actually see the essence of life to such a level. I mean, we are brought to it now in an interesting way when we're standing so still. But before this all happened, I was really, we were talking to several people to see how we could maybe make a series of where you sort of say to the younger generation what means for you, and then them, of course, teaching you what it needs in the same time, the indigenous people can teach us a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was that to me was from a lot of the charities I've worked with or work with now, it really meant and means a lot. It was a real life changer, seeing that and feeling that and being among them.
Yeah, that's something, you could be rich, you could be powerful, but very few people in the world ever experience anything like that.
No, completely. It's incredible. It's incredible. And that it is disappearing is a terribly sad situation. But in charity, when you say that, I mean, the opposite of the thing is, for example, solving kids' cancer, where I've been sort of on the board and part of, is another one where each, sadly now May, it's being canceled. But you know, that has been, it started by two fathers who both lost their daughters. Very heavy. And just their therapies that they've brought in, because kids cancer doesn't get funded very much because the numbers are smaller. So, but because of their work, they started doing a lot of research, and with that have come up actually with therapies that work tremendously well also for adults. So it's kind of, it's beautiful to see the work they've done. I mean, last year there was a doctor that they started, I mean, just to understand how far it goes, not only that immunotherapy, but bringing, for example, the AIDS virus within a child's body, but could also be an adult. Actually, if it's done in a controlled way, it can eat the cancer. Amazing. I mean, that you can, yeah, so, you know, that the times, you know, we'll find the vaccine.
Yeah.
We're so ahead in scientific ways that yeah, our mindset has to change.
And our government has to stop going, oh, you know, stem cell research, that's bad. Okay, well, the rest of the world is helping to cure 9 million diseases,
Yeah.
but yet we have a religious group saying, no, we can't do that. Well, that's just a whole other thing. But anyway.
Yes. Stem cell, for example, very important. Very
Right.
important. Yeah.
Cradle to cradle. You're
Yeah,
every.
another one. Yeah, Cradle to Cradle. I was introduced to them. It's about circular economy. It's about how you can make, coming from the fashion industry, I know that it's probably one of the biggest polluters next to yeah, food and cars and oil and gas. But you can make the route of products circular, meaning that you make it better, you don't waste, you don't pollute. And Cradle to Cradle really started that. Interestingly enough, the two guys are American, Bill McDonough, and one of the scientists is German, but they have some of their offices, which I didn't know in the beginning, in Holland, of course, because they're very up to date with sustainability, circular economy. And so, yeah, they asked me to join and help in a couple of the events and be part of some of the think tanks, and yeah, how they look forward to a better future for all of us. And it's wild, it's interesting just to learn every time, listening to what most people are doing, what some of these companies are doing. There's incredible advancement on that. So it's very positive to see. It's not all bad.
It just has to be implemented and bypass all the
Well, I
payoff
think
deals.
that people, these are the good things of times now. I mean, one of those pictures that kept circulating everywhere was a picture of NASA and showing the polluted area, for example, in China, and suddenly not. And people are realizing, oh, wow, I mean, people are dying left and right. One of the things is pollution, good food, like meat. Like in America, we have to talk about, we see now, bad health is, they're the people, except for the older one, of course, but a lot has to do also with health. So you can't eat all day fatty foods and meats, and so it's all part of that, of saying, okay, how can we create a better world? So I think in this time people are standing still to realize, hey, we have to cook at home.
Yes, and we have to acknowledge who we are and be with ourselves, which is terrifying for
Yeah. Well, we all have our ups and downs.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah.
about 2 minutes from locking myself in the bathroom for 6 days, but that's a whole nother story. You sound like Bill Maher about what we put in our body. That's really such an important thing, and people, even the medical community, no one's ever asked me, what do you eat? Just like he said. Have you ever had a doctor ask you, well, what do you eat?
Yeah.
Well, fundamentally, that is everything that is making up the cells in your body, aside from maybe a little oxygen.
Yeah, there's some fantastic films out there, documentaries for people who are out there ready to shoot themselves. Yeah, Forks Over Knives, fantastic. What's the other one? There's a few of these types where it shows you how important and how they can actually change somebody who is diabetic, not type 1 but type 2, that with certain diseases they've actually done tests on it, and just by changing a little bit the diet and also trying to show that it, because a lot of people will say, yeah, but I can't afford this or that, but to also show it how you can do it with certain vegetables, with certain elements of food, by eating less meat. We don't tell people you're not allowed to. I eat meat, but I don't eat meat every day. And also with dairy, which I find really hard because I'm Dutch. We love milk, cheese. We grew up on flowers and cheese and a few other things.
Before we get to your biggest, most important project, do windmills cause cancer?
Do windmills? Yeah, no. We all have to go back to windmills.
I don't know. I have it on good authority. They huge cancer causers. Yep. You know who said that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Our leader. But anyway, okay. All right, let's talk about, you have a bike. It's a special Dutch bike. I don't know what manufacturer, but you hop on it and you hit the city, and what do you do? Who are you going to?
I am creating, I'm now in the final edits of a series called Life Cycles, Cycling Life, and I'm interviewing friends of mine. At the moment, we're starting with the first 6 that we're editing now, and I'm interviewing people like Griffin Dunn, the actor, to Mareem. She's a Senegalese fantastic singer. Sounds like a mix of Billie Holiday and Erykah Badu. Beatrix Ost, a very dear friend of mine who's an artist and a very wise, interesting woman, to an architect, to also from hairstylist Frederique to Bachelor Mishka in fashion, to Nicholas Kay. So it's like a nice mix of different characters in New York. And we were lined up for a whole bunch more, from a few of from Christy Turlington to actors, Lief and whatever. And hopefully one of these days I'm allowed to go and visit them again on my bike. I don't know how it will look. I mean, maybe wear a mask, but I'll figure something out.
Yeah,
maybe
you're both in hazmat suits.
we have that balloon around you on my bike with a balloon or something.
Yeah, the boy in the bubble kind of thing. Oh, with oxygen tanks. Did you say Nicolas Cage?
No, Nicholas Kay.
Oh, you scared me to death. I'm like, I can't see you in this stage.
Nicholas Cage actually doesn't live he lives in LA.
Nicolas Cage?
Nicholas Cage lives in LA. Nicholas
He used
Cage
to live in my building. That's why I'm saying, because I used to see him all the time. And with the sushi waitress he married.
Actually, he would be a great character. He's a great character.
He sure is.
Yeah. That makes me suddenly think when I did the introduction of my fragrance, now blanking out on the actor's name, The Mask.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. And I came out and Jay Leno was I did a few times Jay Leno, and then Jim Carrey was sitting there and actually blindfolded me, and I had to smell things and we had a blast. But that was the introduction of my fragrance. But yeah, it's funny.
I'm looking that up. Have you ever been rejected?
Oh, of course I have. In which ways do you want to know about?
There's no way. You have to even look that word up. You're going to Google that on your phone while we're talking.
Yeah.
There's no way. Somebody probably was just intimidated by you. Okay. Got that. So you've never been rejected. Did you ever, while modeling, I always wonder this, poses and all the attitude and angles and faces, did you ever just run out of stuff to do and just go, I'm out? Like, I don't know how many turns I can do or flip my hair or.
This I think is like a little thing. It's funny because with Skylar I did a shoot, my daughter, and then she said, Mom, I don't understand what I said. Listen, it's about focusing and thinking of stories and then be present in the moment and think of, I don't know, you're busy with something. Don't think it as movements you do every second.
Okay.
Then it becomes weird and then it becomes posy. It's much more about sort of a fluid feeling of emotion and go into slow motion. So you don't go too fast. You just move slower. And that's kind of, and to keep a certain thought pattern so you don't go flat. And that helped her.
Camera pulls up on the eyes.
Yeah.
That's some Stella Adler modeling technique there. Very deep.
Yeah, that's a good tip. But I remember in the beginning, like when I remember being whatever it was, like a glamour cover or something, and they call cover tries, and you don't know if you're gonna get the cover. But
Really?
I remember that first time they kept saying to me, open your eyes. And I was like, what are you trying to say to me? I mean, first of all, I do have a little bit, bedroom eyes or sleepy eyes. They just, but.
Oh, poor you, Frederique. Poor you and your bedroom eyes. Oh, 9,000 pounds later.
Yeah, but it's funny because that's the thing. It's about focus. But I was like trying to, and I ended up looking like a deer in headlights. But it was about, you have to focus.
Frederique's on meth again. She's doing crack. She's got those eyes. Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first shoot, or what is your first shoot that comes to mind?
Well, I did this very, it was called the Bijenkorf. It's like the Bloomingdale's or Saks Fifth Avenue of Holland, more than maybe the Saks Fifth Avenue. And I remember seeing it in the paper. And then I saw it was like an ad or something. And then I saw it on the street laying somewhere. And I always remember that moment thinking, that's so funny. And the one was actually my first Vogue cover. And it was a French Vogue, and walking in Paris and seeing yourself looking at you. Me looking at me, you looking at me. And it was such a weird thing because I would walk by and I go, hey, and then a little bit like, and it was odd. It was odd.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
When did you get the feeling that this is going to be a career, that it's not hobby or a fluke, but
it took a while, more so even that it was a full career for myself. And that came a little bit because of my Dutch background, because the Dutch very much believe they're in a certain path. And so I did a certain schooling that was quite good. And then I should have gone to university. And then, so there was an element of where in the beginning I had a hard time saying I was a model. I wouldn't even say it to people sometimes. So I would literally, whatever, I sit in a taxi or a car and then they said, what do you do? And I would say I'm a student.
At university, which one? The good one, the big good one.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. So it took me a while, even in the height of my career. I mean, I was definitely, I think when the first time I really felt proud is when I used, and I think it was my fragrance shoot, that I actually, something that I created. I needed to feel maybe something more in it. And then when the years followed, I realized how it opened doors and how, in a way, New York, America has it very much. It opened so many doors and so many opportunities. And I could feel what an amazing opportunity it is and has been. I mean, and it still is. I mean, it's fantastic in a way. I mean, I never would have thought I would still do a shoot. You know what I mean? If somebody would have told me that at 18, I would have said, I don't think so.
That's not happening. That is a common theme, though, that I've noticed. You light up the most when you, of course, the charity and helping people, that's beyond anything. But when you've talked about something you've created, whether you had the idea and it became a TV show, or the
Yeah.
idea and it became bathing suit or perfume.
Mhm.
So you taking the picture alone is amazing, but for you, I think you like
Yeah,
this.
no, I like the process, that there's something to it, you're involved. It takes a little bit more than just being there. Though, you know, when I look back now and at some of the shoots, I think, oh God, I mean, it's amazing. I sometimes would, as a person now, look at a place then. Sometimes it was such a fast lane then. I mean, it was, you know, I mean, the first easily 10 years was nonstop.
Right.
And then, yeah.
You said things like my first Vogue cover and my first whatever cover, first Cosmo. I mean,
Yeah.
those are jokes. Those are serious. I saw like 6 Cosmo covers, but one was green, one was this. I said, oh my God, you know, and your press kit.
That's funny. The Cosmo covers I always remember was Scavulo, Francesco Scavulo.
Yep.
And I shot this one. I think it was, normally I did a lot of green, but this was the gold cover. And my brother was, at the time, I think he already came to New York. But anyway, he was at my place and I came home and he looked at me and he said, "You look so ridiculous. What did they do to you?"
I was gonna say your relationship. I want to know, like, you're the star, and you come home. He goes, "You're an idiot."
Yeah, but literally, I think that's why, and that's the nice thing about the part of the having the Dutch, New York American thing, having some of that groundedness in me. I mean, I remember I did this some TV show. And I was terrible. I mean, we looked at it with a few friends and they all were laughing and they literally said, "Well, we won't see you at the Academy Awards anytime soon." I mean, literally, but this is where you have to have good friends and also you need a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that means they love you. They're open and
Yeah,
honest with you, and you need
yeah,
that. I mean, if everyone goes, "You're amazing," you're never gonna know when you're not. You're
yeah,
just
no, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
one quick one. Did you ever, when every single person knew who you were and you were in New York, so there was no getting around it, did you ever go undercover? Because I've spoken with a few people who've thrown on like a brown wig and gone to a nightclub and stuff. You ever do that
Yes,
one?
I've definitely done that a few
Oh, I
times.
love it. Good, good, good.
I love my black wig.
So you even know what I'm talking? Okay, she's got a black wig. All right.
Yeah, yeah, but it wasn't so much. I also like the idea that you go into a different personality. Actually, I once did it. It's a funny story because I went to pick up a boyfriend in a complete wacky outfit in my black wig, and then I stood there, and somebody walks out and goes, "Freddie," and I go, "What?" I couldn't believe it. They saw who I was. It was like the whole idea was.
So you're like all this effort and black hair
All
and
this
ready?
effort.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but I've also had it where I would go. I remember going out once, and then I don't know, it was like very late, and I ended up at bungalow at Amy
Okay.
Seco, and I was out, and I was like, oh my god, I need another drink, and I'm gonna go out dancing. And where do I go? Of course, I'm gonna go to Amy Seco. And so I sat down in Amy's booth. And I just sort of maneuvered in there, and she like gave me this like, "Who are you?"
Oh,
And who are you?
you had the
And
wig
I
on and
wear a wig.
undercover. All right, gotcha.
Yes.
At her booth.
And then she goes, and who are you? And I said, "Who are you?" And she was like, and then
Oh,
she goes, because then she heard the voice and she said, "Freddie."
oh wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
So
always,
yes.
I've always wanted to run into her because her family business is a moving company in New Jersey that has moved my family 3 different times. And I've always wanted to be
You
like, Amy, the moving company, because she'll think I want like a club thing or something.
should do an interview with her. She would
That
love it.
will definitely
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, yeah. We'll talk another time about all kinds of other stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot to discuss. When are you looking now for the show? I know you wanted to film 12 shows, I think, right? It was going to be 12 episodes.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. We
You know,
start now with
Netflix
6 and yeah.
is there a
7.
release date tentatively, or or you're going to have to shoot all 12 for life cycles? And then,
Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
sure. Are you guys going to shoot all 12 shows and then pick a release date? Because you had said 2 to 3.
No, the release date is probably, I would think May, and we're now going to release the 6. And yeah, and I will, we'll connect the
Oh, we're going to
dots.
definitely connect.
But it will be, yeah, it will be first shown at Newswire FM, and then we also, it will go around to different markets. So I think it's you know, it's an inspirational, fun and New York feel show. So I think also for a lot of people, it was interesting when I was reviewing a few of them. It really also, interestingly enough, in this time, I think it will hit a core because they are real stories and it's people you like to hear something about.
Oh, Frederick,
Yeah.
hi, I can't wait. I've heard about him forever from all the women, and oh, I've heard a lot. So definitely want to see his. And Dunn, of course, between his father and he. Yeah, I think it also fills the thing of we're all trapped. So
Yeah.
you showing interaction with the exciting people that make New York what it is, it's a vicarious thing of, hey, digitally, I'm out there with Freddie and I'm talking to this guy. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not, but I feel like I am.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll be awesome. Okay, websites or anything for us to check you out on?
Any websites?
Fred-
Yeah,
Fred-
Frederique.com. Of
Frederique?
course.
Okay.
Frederique.com.
When I saw that, I'm like, wow, did you nail that? How long ago did you get that one?
Actually, it got renewed not so long ago. So thank you for that.
Wow. Because I would have thought someone, you know, those squatters would have said, okay, Supermodel, I'll take it and I'll charge you $20,000 for it.
No, I mean, I had somebody do it for me, but we did it. I had an old one and it, whatever, a couple months ago, it got renewed.
Okay. And then you have
Yeah.
your Instagram and
And the Instagram, Frederique
I didn't see you on
BD.
Twitter. I didn't see you on Twitter. You're not on Twitter?
No, I mean,
You don't need
it's
Twitter.
actually, yeah, it's funny. I don't know, a couple of months ago, I had a little glitz and then I can't even connect them, but I'm not a big fan of Twitter in a sense. Like it's somehow I like Instagram very much and I've gotten more and more into that. And I think it's a nice way, but I definitely also go through times where I'm irritated about look at me.
Oh, God.
Look at me, look at me, look at me, all these. And I'm so glad there's no influencers for the moment as much. They can't say, look at me, look at me. It's just, I sometimes find that, you know, I still sometimes try to find a way what the voice should be.
Mhm. I think you have a
Because,
really good voice because it does not come off as, like you said, it might be a little bit look at me, but it's not look at what I have. And that's
right.
where I go, you know what? I hate you. Look at me is okay because you're showing me your puppy, or look at this, I just painted this, or you know, those things are fine. I don't want to see your salad. I don't want to see your boat, and please don't show me a picture of you on a jet. Just don't.
I mean, it's not okay. It's not okay. Hopefully that will all change now.
Yeah, there's going to be a seismic shift. Yeah, I think Mother Nature said, hold on, the world was never going anywhere. It was you guys who were going, and things are different now. But you
Yeah.
said about China, before the Olympics, they shut down every factory for half a month to clear the air. So everyone went, oh, look how nice it is. No, people are dying in Shanghai and Beijing. It's so horrible. Last thing, did you ever have an awkward period, or did things just
Yes.
work out from like 8 years old on?
And maybe you can even send you a picture of my awkward.
Please do. We'll definitely put that in the story.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time where I was a little boyish. My brother and I had the same sort of hairdo, like a bit of a needle. I had a bit of a overbite or missing a tooth. It definitely was an awkward time. I definitely didn't, you know, in the early teens, it was definitely awkward.
You weren't in the Gap Kids ads, were you? Okay.
No,
Very
no,
cool.
absolutely not.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, that was an odd time. And I do remember in those, whatever, at 14, 15, that's only a little bit aware. I don't think it was something that played so much in how I grew up, of what you looked like, or yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I remember about when people said, oh, you know, you should maybe model. I was like, first kind of got a little nervous, like, what do you
Wow. I'm missing the tooth. Oh, wow.
huh? No.
How did the modeling thing start? Because I tried to research it and I didn't see who grabbed you or what.
So it was actually sort of interesting. I was approached in The Hague. There was this friend of a friend who said, you know, you could do some modeling, and the agency in Amsterdam was called the Bookers. Says I could organize a meeting, and I was like, really? And then they said, yeah, I know you could make, you know, 750 guilders in a day, and I was
Gilders, I
washing,
remember that. Okay, Gilders.
yeah, washing cars and doing a newspaper route. And I said, oh, maybe I should go. So I went with him, and that's when I got the first Bay Curve job.
Okay.
And but then they asked me to join the Elite Look of the Year. And at the time, the contest in Holland, you could win a car, and that was my motivation.
I don't care if I win. I want the car. That's why I want to win.
Oh my God, how amazing. I could win. And I won a Peugeot 405. And I actually didn't have a driving license because in Holland you have to be 18. It was just before 18. And I had to sell it. So it was funny. But I thought it was like the most amazing thing that you could win a car. So then I won in Holland. And then I ended up at the international contest in Mauritius. And to my big surprise, I won. I had no, that was, I didn't think that was coming. And so I suddenly had a 2-year contract, and I finished my school, and then I went to New York. And I was a little bit in Paris in the beginning. And then I was like, New York, I like much better.
Wow, you rebel.
Yeah.
You skipped university for a 2-year contract with the biggest agency in the world. Mad woman.
No, the New York agency was also elite.
What's that?
New York was also elite. It was,
Yeah, so you're
yeah.
global. I mean, you're worldwide.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they knew what they were doing. I still think if you do a Bond girl, there's no way. I mean, look at what they're doing now. They put Halle Berry and stuff. She's older, all this stuff. You don't have to be 17. You just have to look like you look. So next casting.
Yeah, maybe I'll give them a call.
Yeah. Bring some tulips, some Frederique's choice, wow them over. It's a joy to meet someone like you. Known who you are my whole life. Had the pictures, ripped them off the covers. But it's so refreshing when it's class, substance, brilliant, go-getter. I'm impressed. So we will talk again soon. I hate to be the one, but I have to end the meeting. So it's not hanging up the phone first, but there's no choice. We will be in touch. I'll send you everything, and that's it. Frederique Van der Waal. Bye-bye.
Don't quit.
Awesome.